I'm supposed to record that, and whoever's watching this, sorry, you just can look at the notes for the first half of the class. Oh, those are my lines. Okay. So, let's go a little crazy. Well, not crazy, but let's write the problem a different way. So our main goal is when I see the word parallel, I just remember the slope is the same. And when I see the word perpendicular, I remember that the slopes are opposite reciprocals. If you can do those two things, you are good. Okay, so I'm going to erase that, and I'm going to put up the next problem. I think we have two to, actually we'll probably do three, just so we do one of each setup here. So we're bringing it back to writing equations of lines. We hopefully know how to do that. If we don't, we are getting help. I will be after school today if you think you need help. So I'm here in person and virtual. So let's say this was the problem. Write the equation of a line. And I'm going to give you some info. I'm going to say I want it in point slope form. I'm going to say it's parallel to 2x plus 3y equals 6. And I'm going to say it's to the point 5, negative 11. So I'll give you a second to write that. So basically, we've been doing point slope form, okay? We've been given points. The new thing is, okay, instead of me just giving you the slope, we just have to find it because I'm saying it's parallel to that. So we're kind of just adding one new step onto the stuff we've been doing. So I'm going to deal with that first. Let's find the slope. When I say parallel, it means it has the same slope as this line. We don't know the slope of that line because it's in standard form. So I'm going to rearrange it to slope-intercept so that I know what the slope is. So I'm going to take this equation. Whenever I need slope, I like that y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to try to get that y by itself. I'm going to subtract 2x. I get 3y equals negative 2x plus 6. And I'm going to divide by 3. When I'm dividing each of those individually, so that will give me negative 2/3 x plus 2, right? Because 6 over 3 is 2. I did all that and whoa. And I'm only focusing on one thing. In this equation, I really only care about the slope. I don't even care about the other stuff, so once you find the slope, you don't even need it. So if the slope of this, I can just even do that, is negative 2/3, then the slope that I need for my equation, since it's parallel, is negative 2/3. That's the only thing you need that equation for. I feel like other people, they want other stuff. Nope. Only thing I care about is the slope. Once I say this parallel slope, that's my slope I'm plugging in. I'm going to use this point. So I'm going to say y plus 11 equals negative 2/3 x minus 5. And that, my friends, is theory.
So when we do that equation, we're just trying to find the slope?
Exactly. All you care about here is the slope. You don't care about anything else. So once you find the slope, you're good. You don't need any of the other information. So then it's just, since it was parallel, it was the same. And that's what you're plugging in with that other point that's given. Yeah, I feel like sometimes, you want to use that other equation for other stuff. Don't. You don't care about it. When it says parallel, you only care about slope. Hold that up for a second. Those are the problems that are too easy for you. Okay, so we'll do two more. We'll do one in slope-intercept and we'll do one in standard, just so we always can go back over those. But we'll see different things like parallel and perpendicular and all that fun stuff, and maybe some different information given. Does anyone have a question on that first one? Fabulous. Okay, so same idea. Second problem, so just one of each type. So that's a good review on a Monday. This one I'm gonna say I want it in slope-intercept form. Okay. I'm gonna say it's perpendicular to this equation. And I'm gonna say it has an x-intercept of 3. So I feel like the biggest thing when we took that assessment last week, like we were given information, and like, I don't even know what to do with this. So our main goal is we need to organize first. Then once we're organized, we can kind of decide how we want to get to that form that we need. So I just kind of go through, okay, slope-intercept form, please know the forms and their names. That's y equals mx plus b, so we need this form. Perpendicular, so now I know I'm only focusing on the slope. So perpendicular, I go to this equation and find the slope. In this case, I know where it is because it's in point slope. Look at, I don't even care about that other information, so don't even look at it. All I care about is it's perpendicular to -6, which means my slope is the opposite, which is positive, and the reciprocal of 6, which is 1/6. Now you're like, oh, it has an intercept, but it's an x-intercept. That doesn't really help me. I need a y-intercept for slope-intercept form. If you ever see an intercept, write it as a point. So that is the point 3, 0, right? If it's the x-intercept, that means I know the x and the y is 0. So I'm given this information. I need to write it in slope-intercept. I'm going to plug it into point slope and rearrange. I am going to show you a mistake that some people made on the quiz after this. But I'm a big point slope fan. I feel like it's, if you have a point to the slope, it's pretty easy. Y minus 0 equals 1/6 x minus 3. So that's just, I don't even care about the 0, right? So it's just y equals, and I distribute in 1/6 x minus 1/6 times 3 is 3/6, which I can reduce to 1/2. Please, some of you like are stuck in your little ways and you want to do it the way you did last year, even though that way stinks. And some of you did this on the quiz. You said, oh, y equals mx plus b. And you said, oh, the y was 0, the m was 1/6, the x was 3, and then the b. And you said that one, that's not an equation. Oh, yeah. Or some of you just solved, I don't even know what you were doing. And you gave me this as an answer, also not an equation, right? Equations have x's and y's. You need to make sure if you do this process, you need to make sure you go back and actually put in the slope and the intercept. This is the only thing that makes sense to write an equation, x and y. I don't care about b. Well, I do care about b. You have to solve for it and then plug it back in. So be careful in that process. That's why I just like point slope. You just like have the equation and you're done. But does anyone have a question on that second one? Oh, that's fine. All right, just one more. So good old friend standard form. Whoop, whoop. All right, so we want to write an equation in standard form. So now we've seen all the forms, just as a good reminder. I want it to be perpendicular. The word perpendicular, so to this equation, y equals 1/5 x minus 2. And I just wanted to go through the point 1/7. All right, so I'll go through this one with you, and then I'm going to have you guys try a few. So standard form, make sure you know what it is ax plus by equals c. We remind ourselves, okay, it's kind of annoying because you can't just plug into it, so usually we do another form and rearrange. So let me kind of just organize my information. Perpendicular, we're talking about slope. You find the slope of this. We know where it is because it's in slope intercept form. This other stuff I don't care about. So my perpendicular slope to 1/5, the opposite is negative and the reciprocal is 5. So my new slope that I need is -5. I'm using the 0.17. Since I have a point of slope, I'm just gonna do point slope and rearrange it. So y minus 7, you're gonna notice I basically do that for every problem. So if you are a person that is confused, just use point slope and then move things around. So I kind of set it up. I'm gonna distribute in. That gives me -5x plus 5. And I'm just gonna kind of move things around. I want x and y together, so I'm gonna move the x over here. So I end up with 5x plus 7, 5x plus y. I don't want that constant of 7 there, so I'm gonna move that over here. That's gonna equal 12. And then I'm good, right? That's following all the rules. No fractions, no decimals, no negative as the first term. So I'd be done. Organize first. What do you got? Plug it in. You good. Ooh. Yep. I'm just giving you a second, sorry. I'm not good at waiting. I have to force myself to wait. All right, actually, there's one more quick thing I wanted to show you because it relates to what we did Friday. It brings in those vertical and horizontal lines with parallel perpendicular. This one should be a pretty quick one. Okay. Write the equation, how do I want to word this, of a line, I'll just say in standard form. That is we'll say perpendicular, sorry. I don't know why that took so much effort. Perpendicular to y equals 7 through the point 5, -2. So this is where you kind of have to start recognizing. When I say perpendicular, I need the slope of this. What is the slope of this line? Yeah.
0.
0. It's a horizontal line. That's where you have to start recognizing x equals y equals. The slope of this is 0. Or think of it, it's a horizontal line. So when I say perpendicular to a horizontal line, or perpendicular to 0 over 1, the opposite is negative, but then it's just 1 over 0. And we know anytime we divide by 0, that is undefined. So this is my perpendicular slope. You need to start recognizing those vertical horizontal lines. If it's undefined through the point 5, -2, you need to know an undefined slope is a vertical line. The equation is x equals, and then we just take the x from the point. So there's basically no work involved in those. You don't have to plug stuff in. You don't need to go and rearrange stuff. You just have to recognize if y equals a number, it's horizontal. The perpendicular is vertical, and it just has to go through that point, or you could do opposite. But if that's something you're like, I didn't know that, then that's something we need to, I'll keep giving them to you. But you have to somehow commit it to your memory. So just as a little heads up ski. Okay, so those were the main things I wanted to go over, and I want to give you guys a little bit of time to practice. So here's the deal. I felt like on Friday, we were rushed and whatever, and I gave you certain problems and people weren't done, and I get it because we all work at a different pace. So here's the deal. I'm giving you a certain problems to do. Let me write them up because I don't know what they are. I've written them down. Okay. So in our problem set, you have a few review problems. Numbers 12 to 17 are review. just making sure we're still good with everything, because we know we have another assessment coming up. And numbers 32 to 41 are kind of the new concept for today, the parallel perpendicular. But once again, I mean, we have a little bit of time, so you might be able to get it done. If you don't get it done, that's okay, but you need to get it done. I am going to give you, because I feel like, you have time and study, but if you already had study, that kind of stinks, and then you're sitting there and blah, blah, blah. So tomorrow when we come in, I'm gonna give you until class time tomorrow, okay? So you are working on it now. But let's say you're like, oh man, I did 12 to 17, and I did a few in the second, but I need to finish them. So you still need to finish them. And then I will mark you off basically when class starts tomorrow. Just because if you have a study later in the day, that's great. If you have a study maybe like second period, and you're like, I'd rather just do it in my study, that's fine too. But those are kind of on you to finish. Now, with that being said, you are doing some now. So that doesn't mean you're like not doing any because you're gonna do them later. No, you're working on them now. You are going to see if there's any questions. So just looking through the problems. I'm gonna upload numbers 1 through 11 and 26 to 31, which you guys did Friday. I'll upload the answers to those. Numbers 12 to 13, the directions are on the previous side. So it should be write the slope intercept form. So that's for 12 and 13. Numbers 14 through 17 are write the standard form. So either just rearranging or kind of plugging stuff in. And then just a little bit of rearranging as well. Oh wait, that was it, because we only had to go to 17. Never mind, those are the other ones. And then numbers 32 to 39, they're really just like, you just say like, what's the slope and what's the parallel perpendicular, so you don't actually have to even write any equations, which is nice. So you'll just say what's the parallel or what's the perpendicular. You might have to rearrange a few equations to find it. And then 40 to 41, you're writing some equations. So just look at your form. So once again, I'm just kind of picking a few a day, but I feel like you guys have to practice in order to know if you know what you're doing or not. Oh, does anyone, what's the website? You guys, you might use it in other classes that you can like make flashcards on. Does anyone know?
Quizlet?
Quizlet. Thank you. I'm going to kind of start or make a Quizlet for you with the important things you need for Friday. So the important things you need is you need to know every form. You need to know the equation of a vertical and horizontal line. You need to know about parallel and perpendicular slope. So there's a lot you just like need to know. So I will try to do that today or in the morning and get it to you. So a little Quizlet just for you guys to study. Exciting. Okay, I'm actually not gonna stop on